So then you will have to apologize for me because I took notes, but I couldn't work it out in notes because the computer that we use all the time was here. But anyway, I'm sure my colleagues will help me if I forget something relevant. So the biotechnology part, which is products you eat and the products we use, on the contrary of what we have been discussing regarding patients or regarding gene drives, regarding the future, well, this is no longer a future, this is already a reality. So genome editing in plants, genome editing in animals is already taking place. We just had the opportunity to learn that experiments that were conducted a few years ago in which there was something unexpected being found that Dan Carlson from Recombinetics was able to report. But the hornless cows, we know about the hornless cows since at the very least 3 years, I guess, if not 4 years. So this is already going on. We have the genome-edited soybean, we have the genome-edited wheat, we have a number of different cases that have been occurring, that have been, so this is not the future, but the reality, and this is already the present. So we had quite a diversity of people attending the group. We had people from different countries in Europe, we had people from US and people from Canada, people working in the plant biotech field, animal biotech field, but also philosophers, and we had some exactly people that were regarding technology, lay people, and so. We understood that perhaps we are about to commit the same mistake, and this was already alluded by Steve in his talk, about to commit the same mistake because it is not a solution for us as researchers involved in these topics to float again the whole society with additional data. It's not about data. So we already providing a lot of data to the society. And rather than focusing in all these different limitations, rather than being oversighting and over-referring these negative aspects of this technology because we think this is what people wants to hear or people wants to fear about, the proposal is to focus on the product, on the value of the product. So forget about what is the technology that has been used to create this product, but present the product to the society as a product that has an additional value, an additional capacity, and because it's a better product, because it's good for the environment, because it's good for the human health, and focusing in the product seems to be one of the elements that was repeatedly discussed. Not only the product, but also we appreciate there were different opinions across different sides of the Atlantic Ocean. So whether in Europe or in US. For instance, in Europe, the consumer, they, talking about meat for instance, they are not only willing to buy better meat, but great meat and good value meat, but meat that is coming from animals that are being held well, that are being raised well. So this is the additional value that needs to be highlighted. Also, when we're talking about using animals in biotechnology, talking about these different measures for measuring distress. So when we talk about animal welfare, how do we measure the animal welfare? How do we transmit this? I already said that we've been already focusing too much on risk, and we should rather probably balance and focus into the value of the product and communicating on this value. We need to put things in context, and this was referred several times. So where these plants are coming from, what are we trying to solve, what is the trait that is relevant for this plant or for this animal. We have already a number of examples, and I think we can elaborate. And there are some people that we have different aspects. There are some which are more optimistic than others. There's some people that would say there's a matter of time, and that sooner or later the value of the product will eventually succeed. And no matter what the technology, no matter what the opponents of the technology that they exist at the moment, eventually the value of the product will succeed. We will see, and we need perhaps to stress how much this technology can help on devastating diseases that are affecting livestock, for instance. And we made some comments about the African swine fever. African swine fever is impacting nowadays. There is a phenomenal breakout in China, and China is known to have at the very least 375 million pigs. Out of them, more than 200 million of these pigs, they will have to be incinerated this year. So it's 55%. So it's, just to put in context, this is 5 times the number of pigs we have in Spain, even though in Spain we are having far more pigs than the ones we are consuming, because we're raising pigs for the rest of Europe. So this is a phenomenal number. So these are whatever we can do to stop and to prevent the dissemination of this untreatable disease. I think it should eventually be acceptable, or I think we should manage to transmit this acceptance to the society. What else? We already discussed, and this is what Pep Casacuberta presented. We have this confusion whether when we're talking about products that are natural versus products that are not natural. This is a wrong word, and there's so many conflicts, so many troubles that are associated with the use of the word natural. What is natural? Everything is natural, otherwise we will not be doing this. And the difficult to differentiate the perception of the risk versus the real risk. So in some cases the real risk might be low, but the perception of the risk may be very high. There were some comments also regarding whether the changes that we're proposing for these plants or these animals, they are reversible or irreversible, the irreversibility of the changes. And I guess that's pretty much all the different topics that we were discussing. I'd like to focus on that we need to turn out to the product, and I think we already said, and we can continue saying about the limitations and the risk, but we need to stress out the values and the additional benefits that are coming along with the use of these technologies, for both plants and animals, because they're already there, and they will be soon in the market. In Europe, maybe we will not be able to produce this, but I'm sure they will be eventually reaching our supermarket, even if we are not producing, and we will keep our friends from the other side of the ocean happy, because they will be producing this for us and we will be purchasing. So eventually this might be changing. Hope this change in the future. Do I forget something important? Okay, that was it. Thank you.